phone.
So let me allow you to introduce yourselves. Mr. Kalmoni, I'll start with you.
Yes, my name is Mustafa Kalmoni, General Manager for Commercial Sales at Silver Star. Silver Star is the sole distributor of Mercedes-Benz in the country for trucks, cars, passengers. As well, we undertake delivery, genuine spare part for Mercedes, and as well service all over the country.
Nice. Mr. Scheffler, what about you?
Yeah, my name is Henrik Schempler. I'm CEO of Karl Friedrichs GmbH, it means limited, German company, and I'm a car body engineer. I started my career in a car body building at the age of 16.
Nice.
So I have a long time experience, and I'm happy here to sit together with you and talk about ambulances.
So let's talk about the ambulances. What for you is so special about the one that is being brought to the Ghanaian front? And why is it important that Silver Star would want to partner in, the government of Ghana to make sure this becomes a reality?
Well, let me say we are Mercedes-Benz. Our undertaking this job for an ambulance is manufactured to respond to the medical and trauma emergency in all the country.
Okay.
Of course, it is to undertake the disaster rescue and emergency response, especially at high speed. So it is important to have a very good car, solid, and this is the reason why we are having this Mercedes-Benz to promote in the country.
Very well, and I'm sure that's where Mr. Scheffler comes in, because you, from what I understand, are a bodybuilder. What does it mean, and why are you so interested in the ambulances? What specifications are you looking for to making sure that the ambulances that come to Ghana are tailored for our kind of, system?
First of all, I know Silver Star more than 20 years because we're doing business with our friends at Mercedes-Benz Silver Star. They're importer of Mercedes-Benz vehicles in Ghana. And we as company Friedrichs are a qualified and preferred supplier of the Mercedes-Benz company. And Mercedes-Benz has a big wide range of vehicles, and the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter is a perfect base vehicle to create ambulance cars out of it. And the company Friedrichs was founded 179 years ago, 1840 in Germany. This was a family business, but now owned by a foundation, very social. And so since 20 years we work very close together with Silver Star, and I think together we can have the perfect solution for the Ghanaian market.
Mr. Kalmoni, so tell me about what the government of Ghana particularly wants to see in these ambulances that you are bringing up.
As we said, the ambulances is based first of all on a Sprinter chassis, and it has to have build specification. And the build specification, that the structure has to be very, very solid, and as well as economical and safe. And in having said that you should have a very solid shock absorber. We at Mercedes-Benz, we have different type of shock absorbers, for example. So therefore we have to know what to select. We have a different type of tire from many manufacturers, well brands, so we have to know what to select. And then also we have to be make sure that it is long lasting, heavy duty. These are the components where you can see somebody can make a mistake without knowing the specification of the need of the Ghanaian need. So then you can make a mistake. So that's why we are trying not to make such a mistakes.
But will this be the first time you're supplying any kind of vehicle to the government in Ghana?
No. We did supply, so for several institutions, we supply to the Ministry of Health under the blood control. We supply as well for Bank of Ghana. We have supplied as well for the Ghana airports. And also we supplied for the Chief of Staff as well. So these are vehicle, and also if you want to have another good example is DHL. For example, DHL, every day they go to Takoradi and Kumasi, so it tells you how robust is the car and long lasting.
Very well. Mr. Scheffler, are the requirements for the kind of ambulance you make or bring for Ghana different from the ones you make in Germany, and why so?
On the one part, yes, because the specification for the European markets are a little bit different because we have other road conditions or other climate conditions. This is the most biggest difference, but we designed a special for a rough use ambulance car for the African market. And it's not typical German over-engineered. It's more for the rough use and rough road conditions. But the most important, the medical equipment we are using inside the ambulance cars is exactly the same we are using for West European ambulance cars. It's the best we can get. Most of them is all made in Germany or made in West Europe to really not spare the money on the wrong side.
Mr. Carmoni, let me come to you because Mr. Shepler talks about the components of an ambulance. When we talk about the ambulance, is it just going to be the vehicle that Silver Star is going to provide, or you're looking at essentials that you also make sure are fitted in that to make it complete?
Yes. First, we have to know what we have. We here in Ghana, we have a slight problem with the diesel. That's why we look upon Euro 3. Euro 3, it means 50 ppm of sulfur.
Okay.
And so therefore we have to be very careful, because sometimes the sulfur content in diesel in Ghana, it can be higher.
Right.
So therefore we have to make sure that we're having this specification, because the Euro 5 and 6 of what they use in Europe, it is not adaptable to the country.
Right.
And this kind of question is, we have to be approved and homologated by the Mercedes-Benz, which will give us the warranty, because at the end we are selling a product with warranty.
Okay.
So every component has to be approved by Mercedes-Benz.
Correct, absolutely correct.
Interesting.
Yes.
That sounds nice. And you seem very proud of us. Look how you relaxed after saying that. But let me come to you. Do you have different types of ambulances and the things that you install in them at every country? If it's
Of course, normally we have two standards. One of the standards is a patient transfer unit. It's a simple unit. Then you can even order more quantities of vehicles.
Okay.
But then the intensive care and the vehicle we are showing here today in the Kempinski Hotel on a display, it's a high-end intensive care unit with all equipment to save lives here in Ghana. But the most important is we are building the vehicles individual to the demands of the customer and the
Right.
client. Yeah? And if the Ministry of Health has specific specs, or the National Ambulance Service, then we will respect them. And the prototype we are showing here in Ghana at the moment, or from today, is exactly what they want.
nice. So together, what has been the biggest amount of ambulances you've had to supply?
We have supplied, as I mentioned before, we have supplied several ambulances. But the most important thing that we should not make a mistake to allow a non-authorized bodybuilder. So therefore, using even the name of Mercedes-Benz, because it's sorry to say that there have been some importation from countries, let me say like Dubai or whatever, Turkey or France. This has become a difficult, therefore, for us to service and to guarantee.
Right.
So this is where we don't want to reach to that stage. So that's why we are very careful when we are talking about the importation of ambulances.
And that's why you've gone to partner with the best bodybuilder in town. But let's also talk about some of the countries that you've sent these things to, because obviously when you're bringing something to our country where we've had so many ambulances break down, would want to know if the ambulances are durable in other countries at all.
Yes. We have with our clients in other African countries,
Okay.
not only Africa, but of course, even because now we are in Ghana, a lot of very good experience. And of course, Nigeria, one of your neighborhood countries, Zambia, Tanzania, Algeria, Senegal, Malawi,
Right.
so many African countries. And even had big orders up to 1,000 units for ambulance cars for some other government, National Ambulance Service. And in our YouTube channel, you can find several videos to approve our statement. Yeah.
Very well. But let me finally ask you, Mr. Carmoni, because you've been around on the scene for long and you've known that we've had these ambulance issues, not because we don't have the ambulances in the country, but because they break down within a short time. So you are telling us that Mercedes-Benz is trying to make sure that the ones you bring to us are going to last longer and also are durable.
Definitely, with no doubt. We started this project over 5 years.
Okay.
So what does it mean? That means we have to follow to know what are the reason of the accident.
Right.
Where is the bodybuilders, previous bodybuilders, they have made the mistakes. And all these petty details, we have to accumulate them to make the perfect solution and the lasting solution.
Right.
And when I can please
Sure.
tell in addition, the maintenance and service. Yeah? We agreed together, and happy to the 5 facilities you have here in the country to give a very good service and maintenance solution, that the vehicles are not only once sold and then forgotten. So we want to see every ambulance car twice a year in the workshop of Mercedes-Benz. And together with our experts and the expert for the medical equipment,
Right.
we take care that everything will be on function and inside the ambulance. Yeah.
So the interesting thing we want to find out is, are these vehicles being imported or are they being primarily assembled here?
No, as I said, the Mercedes-Benz, from the beginning, we have to tell them that these are ambulances.
Okay.
It's not a van.
Okay.
So many people, they get confused that it is a van, then you can convert it to an ambulance. No, it is from the factory. You have to tell them that it is an ambulance.
Right.
The axle at the front axle, it has been adjusted especially for that. And then, of course, then we give it to our partner, which is Friedrich. Then they convert it because they are, as he said, is a preferred partner. So they are making sure that if they are changing the location of the auxiliary battery, it is certified, guaranteed by Mercedes. This is a very, very much important.
Absolutely.
So this is how we are interested in the partnership.
Very well. So, and then few years to come, where do you see this partnership leading in Ghana, particularly in the production and maintenance of these ambulances that you provide?
Yes, you see, when we, as a sole distributor of Mercedes, we are connected, for example, by a system called equipment for making sure that the ambulances that are in good conditions. So therefore, we have a special diagnose.
Okay.
This special diagnose is linked directly to the factory on the minute.
Okay.
So therefore, the factory knows exactly what we are doing in Ghana at any location. So that's why it's quite important that we service the ambulances on time and good time.
Nice. Mr. Kalmoni, you are here in Ghana, so I won't ask you this question, but I'll come to Mr. Shepla. Do we see you coming to Ghana more often after
Yes,
this
of
collaboration?
course. Since 20 years, I'm happy and thankful that I get always a very warm welcome here in Ghana. And I see the improvement in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will use this possibility now to say thank you to the Ghanaian people. Yeah, they are very, very nice and very friendly, and happy to be here more often, of course. Yeah, and together then we can solve the ambulance problem here.
Very well. Mr. Kalmoni, your final words.
Well, my final word is that we have to be sure that we don't allow gray markets, because the gray market is killing the business, and we don't know, we take the money just because we want to save certain corner, and we allow the final client suffer. And then this is a really big responsibility, and especially when we are dealing with a person who is sick in the ambulance who want to go to the hospital. So this is quite important.
That's
so
a very good note to end with. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Mustafa Kalmoni. He is the General Manager, Commercial Vehicle Sales with Silver Star Ghana, and also Mr. Henrik Shepla, who is the CEO of Carl Friedrichs GmbH, located in Germany. We have been talking about the ambulance situation and how they're going to make sure they help Ghana solve that issue here.